All right. Welcome, everybody. Listen to Like Show, owner-operator, profit strategies. Oops. We have the Dean on the phone.
What's up?
All right, so let's start this off. If anybody wants to join us, you can come in. But in this day and age, would you not agree, Dean, that some places, let's say you run within a 300-mile radius of your home, it just isn't getting it?
It just doesn't what?
It's just not getting it.
Right. Sometimes it doesn't, right? Exactly.
Right. So, number one is your running area. So what if number one here isn't working? Do you change it or you stay in your running area?
Are you showing them something? Because I can't see nothing.
Yeah, I'm showing.
Oh,
You're on the phone. Don't worry about it. All right, see, if you're in your own running area and it's not working anymore, it's not making your money, this is a business. You have to sacrifice. You got to do your homework. And you got to find a new running area. Would you agree with that, Dean?
absolutely. That's 100%.
Right. So we're going to call that down here, number 5, a backup running areas. So how do you find those running areas?
Backup running areas. We'll just look at the board.
Right, but what you want to do is you want to do your homework and research them while you're in your own running area to find out where to go.
Right.
That'll best suit what you want to do. So if you want to do the short haul regional game, you're going to want to go to another area that you can short haul. Correct?
You would, yes.
And we're going to show you the 1, 2, 3 load board, and we're going to show you a part of the DAT that has the national van rates, and you will see that those van rates that they post are, well, I don't want to say it, but it's the second letter of the alphabet, and the other one's an S, if you can read in between the lines, right? Because that's what they're posting. They're posting a number that means absolutely nothing. Would you agree with that, Dean?
I would.
Right. All that number it does is it makes the people that don't know the business of trucking. And it makes it worse for everybody else that does know the business of trucking. Because if you listen to anybody else out there that always shows national van rates, they set themselves up for failure. Because that's all they expect to get.
That's right.
Right?
Or they believe in the ratios.
Right.
Right.
They believe in those ratios, which are false ratios.
They are skewed.
They're skewed. Exactly, they're skewed. Which would make them false, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
They're a skewed ratio.
I mean, there's a reason for it. I mean, obviously they have the reasons, but you just can't. You just got to sift through the stuff, right?
Right.
Nonsense.
All right, so I'll sit down here at the desk here for a second, and I'm going to show you, because some people might not know how to do this, I'm going to show you how to find those running areas. Now I'll bring up the screen here. Now I went on to 1, 2, 3 load board, and I put in St. Louis, 150-mile radius, going to St. Louis within a 250-mile radius. And you can do 500 or whatever you want. But now when I look at the 55 matches that are filtered out of the area, I see 386 a mile. This one's already gone. 322 a mile, 313, 309, 304, 304, 299, 289, 288. Now keep this in mind. Keep those numbers in mind, Dean, because I'm going to click over here to national van rates that DAT says in that area. They say 265. How many of those loads did I read off that are higher than 265?
Half dozen.
Yeah, at least. And this is at night when that's what's left on the board.
Right.
281, 281, 279. You could sit there and get higher than that if you wanted to go to St. Louis. So if you lived in Oklahoma City and your 300-mile radius wasn't working, you could say, oh, well, St. Louis isn't a bad area. Let's look at Kansas City to Kansas City. 481, 315, 291, 281, 260. Not that many loads, right?
Did you do a reverse search on that? Is that what you did?
I put in search where you want the origin,
Okay.
and then I put in the destination,
Oh, okay.
right?
So just a basic search, right?
Right. So you're going to look at all the loads within 150 miles from St. Louis, going within 250 miles of St. Louis, or Kansas City in this case.
Okay.
So now I'd say, I really don't want to go to Kansas City because St. Louis is better. So let's look at Springfield, Missouri. 481, 314, 281, 256. You're getting below their little 265 mark, right, for that area.
Yeah.
So, okay, you say, what's still in that area? Columbus, Ohio to Columbus, Ohio, right? Now let's look at this. $11, $11, $8.89, $8.89, $8.89, $7.89, $7.89, $6.25, $6, $5.92, $5.88, $5.81, $4.77, $4.66, a bunch of 4.66s, some 4.63s, and I keep scrolling down, and I haven't come close to the 265. 378, 378, 377, 373. Would you say that's a good area?
Columbus, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not bad. Yeah.
Right. So 344, 339, 335, and I just keep going. I'm scrolling through 50 to hundreds of loads, and I still haven't got down to this fictitious 265 right here. And we're going to look at the East Coast. They say 235, Dean. They say 235. Well,
Where? On the East Coast?
yeah. So let's go to the East Coast. Let's do Carlisle, PA. That's in the heart, right?
It is. Yeah.
150 miles within 250. $44 a mile, $38 a mile, 18 bucks, 762, 694, 672, 566, and you scroll on down 50, 100 loads or so, and you're not even in the $3 yet. $3.99, $3.99, keep on going. Keep on going. You got to go through several hundreds of loads before you even get down to $2.35 a mile. Right? So that just shows you. You got to know your area. You do your homework, and you look at other areas in the country. If you do like short haul, what you do is you get a load to that other area, and you run that short haul. Right?
That's right. For a couple of days, and then take the load, go back home, and you made your money.
Right. Exactly. Because if you're just looking in one area and you see some good rates, it doesn't mean you can go run that area and stay short. You have to have the capacity, right? There has to be a lot of loads there to stay in that area and do what you do that you did back home. And that's where a lot of people in this industry don't understand, right? If you're a truck driver, been a truck driver, owner-operator now, you need to sacrifice and go to those areas, run those areas, and then go back home. Right? So if you have California Interstate, what does Carlsbad, California, to Carlsbad do? 530, 370, 332, 332, and so on. And we get over here and we see that they say 234 out west. That's why I don't go by what this company puts out here. I don't go by those numbers. If you go by those numbers, you've already lost the game. You've lost the game. Now you can look at Memphis, right? So if you're in Dallas and Dallas ain't working, Is Memphis better? So you look at that area. It's not. Hardly no loads over there right now. So that you can go say, okay, I want to stay south. What's Atlanta got to offer? Atlanta's got a lot to offer. 700, 750, 385 a mile, 374, 374, 370, 358, 352, 352, 351. And you go down here and you got just a lot of loads that are going to be there to keep you running. And they're saying 234, and you could easily do $3 to $4, $5 a mile in that area. Easy. So that's how you got to run a business, right? That's how you got to run the business. You just can't stay at home and then sit there and go, you know what? Rates aren't that good here at the house, so I'm just going to sit at home and do nothing. What happens when you sit home and do nothing, Dean?
You will go broke.
Exactly. Because every business has a daily cost. I don't care if your truck's paid off. I don't care if your trailer's paid off. You still have insurance.
Yeah.
Right?
And your bills at home don't stop.
Right. Yeah, your mortgage don't stop. You have a mortgage. Your car payments don't stop. So you put all that in there. You have a daily cost. We're looking at per mile rates, Sage, in a selected small radius around big cities. So that way, if a guy is, let's say, in Dallas, and he runs a 300-mile radius around Dallas, and his area is cooling off, he can look over at Columbus, Ohio, Carlisle, PA. You just pick the cities. Atlanta, LA, and so forth, and find the area that has the freight and the rate that you need for, let's say, your per day rate to make your daily rate and then some. And you go to those areas and you run those areas until it's time you want to go home, then you go back home. Because if you continue to run in your own area and there's no freight there, you continue to sit home, you're going to go broke. Because you're going to eat through all your savings sitting there. Because everybody has a daily cost to run a business. Doesn't matter what business you're in. Every business has a daily cost. Right? If you're a one-man broker and you run it out of your house and you have internet cost, electricity, your home, all that is still a daily cost. Or if you have a restaurant, that restaurant has a daily cost, whether you open the doors or not. YouTube money. Who makes YouTube money? I mean, if you got, hundreds of thousands of subscribers, you get hundreds of thousands of views, yeah, you get YouTube money. But guess what? Fistful of dollars. I would not bet my bank on YouTube money. See, that's like going back and saying, I don't fund. I won't fund. I'll fund it myself. But you're putting your money out there with brokers that you don't even know. How you know they're going to pay you?
Well, yeah, or you can say, well, that's just like, because you can't build a business plan on it. You can't build a family budget on it. It's like trying to build a family budget on rate per mile. It's almost impossible. There's a lot of variables, a lot of things can happen. And especially in this market, there's no guarantee that.
Right.
I mean, you can control is what you make per day. You have control over that.
Right. You have no control over making a living on YouTube. Right? No. Because at any given time, YouTube can pull the plug. Even if you did nothing wrong and they think you did something wrong, they can pull the plug and there goes all your money. Right? If you're getting YouTube money, invest it. Thank the Lord you got it. And ride it while you have it. because you never know when they're going to take it. Because nothing says they got to pay you. Big Face, it's a gamble. Yeah, it's a gamble. What's going on, Big Face Trucker? Dean Big Face is in here.
Wow, it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. He hasn't been around in a long time. Daily cost with fuel.
How's that gout treating Big Face? Is it doing better?
Jerome has a question. He says daily cost with fuel or without?
Without. Fixed cost or without. I mean, you got to add it in, but you do that when you look at your loads.
Right. See, fuel is, he says no more, Big Face said.
Good.
Fuel is a big variable. So when you do your daily cost of your business, do all your home stuff, all your savings, whatever you're going to put, retirement, whatever you want, everything in there. Plus all your business expenses, and divide it by how many days you stay out on the road. And that's your daily cost before fuel, right? So if you got a $300 daily cost, you take a load that's $500, it's going to cost you $150 in fuel. You got $350 left, then you know that load is good and it's profitable. And another thing about rates, I still hate people that say cheap freight. There's no such thing as cheap freight, because what's cheap to you might not be cheap to somebody else because they have different costs. Right? Every business has different costs. Just like if you go to a restaurant. One restaurant might charge you $14 for a hamburger. Another restaurant charges $6. It's the same meat. It's the same half pound. But why is one charging $14 and one charging $6? It's got to be their cost.
Maybe they don't get a lot of customers every day.
Right. But you still have people that go to those restaurants, right? So, for example, if you go to, let's say, a Five Guys, and you order a large fry, the regular double hamburger, and a Coke,
$20.
it's going to cost you close to $20. You order that same meal at your local restaurant, it could be $10 or $12.
Maybe, yeah.
So, is it any better? No. But people will go there. Right? So it's the same, that's the same concept in trucking. You know, one guy wants the high dollar stuff and another guy will take the middle of the road stuff because that's all he needs and he's happy with it. That's the way he runs his business. But what makes failures in trucking is the individuals that don't know their cost. And it's not cost per mile, because that's too variable. You got to know your daily cost to run that business. Do you not, Dean? Don't you really need to know your daily cost to run your business effectively?
Well, you do, because how do you know what to ask the broker for if you don't know?
Right. So Sage will tell you the same thing. Sage will tell you, he'll say, it's not my job to know what your business runs on. You should know it. So when you call a broker, you tell them what you need, and if they can't give that to you, then you just don't make that business connection. You call someone else. Right? And you keep calling until you get either your daily number or close to it, because if you sit a day, your cost now went up.
Well, they just doubled. So tomorrow you need, whatever it is, you need double tomorrow.
Right. Unless you got your daily cost figured on 15 days, running for the month. So then you have 15 days of reserve to add on and not go home. and still make your money for the month.
Good. Or if it's 20, you could say, okay, well, then I'll work 21 or 22.
Right.
Case, but at some point, now you're taking away your home time.
Right.
Or if you break down, and from what I've seen, I think a lot of guys, it's hard to process going from company driver to owner op, because when they break down, well, I still got to get home. But the tricky part is, especially when you have a family, you just took your home time at the hotel while your truck was broke down, because you can't afford to go home after that. That's just my opinion. But unless you're really solid on the savings, if you broke down a week, that was your home time for the month. I'm not saying you won't be able to swing through the house or something, but that can be tricky.
Yeah, but see, what'll happen is the individuals that are really not entrepreneurs, they will go home.
Right.
And they will take away from savings, right? Where a true entrepreneur with the mindset and skill set will say, well, if I go home, take away from that savings, how am I going to go out and work and make all that up plus the savings? I'll just stay out, make what I need to make, and then I'll go home.
Exactly. Because right now it's going to be hard to make that up.
Right.
If you lose $2,000, let's say, because if you took the week off, then you go home. Let's just say it's $2,000, right? Easy number, but that could be difficult to make that up. Plus the repair cost, the downtime. That's going to be challenging.
Right. It'll be challenging. So why put that?
Eventually, you're going to have to stay out.
Right, but why put that extra stress on you and your family?
Right.
Right.
Just stay out. Right.
So you get home a week later. Does it suck? Of course it does. But that's called sacrifice. Down there, number 4. But some people don't want to hear that, right?
Right.
But if you want to get into the owner-operator business, you got to think like an owner-operator.
It's tough. I mean, being a business is tough, and I do like to use, as you know, I like to use the restaurant analogy, because most people are, that's an easy one to use, right? So, but you never see a restaurant close. They're not. I mean, they may have, some restaurants may close a Sunday, Monday, but a vast majority are open 7 days a week.
Right.
So,
correct.
Because if you close down, you're probably going to have some staff that's paid a salary, like your head line cook, stuff like that. They're probably not paid hourly, they're probably paid salary. You're paying them regardless if you're open or closed.
Well, we have a restaurant here that is really good. They close at 4:00 every single day. They miss the dinner hours, right? But the reason why is they don't have any employees. No one wants to work. So they finally got enough staff. They extended their hours until 7. But that's the problem. See, they even fell into it. No matter how good your product is, they need workers. Right? Jerome says, unless you have deep pockets like the dean. So if you're the dean, you can go home and sit and drive from, LA back to Missouri, empty, hauling air, and it doesn't affect you.
Yeah. Can I get a loan, Jerome?
No, but he'll give you a truck horn. He'll give you a little toot on the horn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so owner-operator profit strategies, that's one of the strategies is running area. And when times get tough and your running area isn't keeping up, then you need to change your running area, whether you like it or not. And it might suck, but here's the thing you don't do. I'm going to tell you what you don't do. You don't fall for this recruiting game where you call another company up and they say, oh yeah, we got freight right in your area. Sign on with us. 9 times out of 10, yeah, they'll have some freight there, but then they're going to say, well, you need to take this load way over here. Well, I don't want to go over there. Well, that's all we got. Because they know you can't afford to switch from one company to another and back to another company in this day and age, because most people don't have that kind of money in their bank. Right? To withstand weeks and weeks of downtime switching between companies. And that's where they get you, right? That's where the grass is greener thing comes in, right? They'll tell you everything you want to hear, and they might slide you in and run you by your house all the time for a little while because they took somebody else off of that run, and then all of a sudden they say, oh, you got to take this load, it's all we got. And then once they get you out in their system, you never get home.
That's right.
Mac the Trucker, got to get out of the comfort zone. Exactly. Like my next load, going to the tippy top of Maine, but it pays. Hey, you go up there, wave, say hi to Sage. He might buy you lunch, right?
Yeah, steak dinner.
Yeah, steak dinner. Steak dinner. Yeah. Call him up. He might. He might show up and buy you a steak. He's up in the upper East Coast, right?
He is somewhere up there, right?
Right.
Yeah, he's up. Yeah. But I heard he takes all the drivers and say hi to him up there out to dinner. That's what I heard.
Right. He's a good guy, man. I'm sure if you were seeing him out and about, asked him to go to lunch and talk shop or talk whatever, he'd do it.
Yeah, some fish and chips up there. Right?
Yeah, fish and chips up there. Some lobster. Lobster. Get a lobster roll. Right?
Yeah.
Let's see if anybody else got something. Let me go back through the questions real quick. It wouldn't be bad, but these fuel prices are crazy and no broker gives fuel surcharges. Well, that's the thing.
Oh, that reminds me. I'm glad.
Yeah, it's not their job to do fuel surcharges, especially in the spot market. You're supposed to know what you need. You put all that in your number, and that's what you asked for.
Exactly. Yeah,
Right?
Jeff, so I want to expand on that a second. So, it jogged my memory. I'm going to give a guy a plug here real quick. But Big Rig CEO put a video out last week. And it's really smart on his part to think about this. And now I'm going to backtrack a little bit. If you go to the store, pick any store, Wally World, whatever, pick a store. When you go to the cash register to pay for your merchandise, whatever you're doing, or even if it's a restaurant, a lot of times they have stuff for sale at those registers, right? They call them impulse buys, right? And every city is different. Every geographical area is going to be different on what they'll have, because they have done their research. They know if I put a flashlight in this mark, at the register, it's going to sell, whatever the case may be, a cigarette lighter, whatever it is. But if you look at the prices on things, most of the time, it's always going to be an odd number. You very seldom see, and if you're a sales guy, you'll understand what I'm talking about, but most prices are always an odd number. Now, that's really not significant, and it doesn't really pertain much to this conversation or statement I'm trying to make here. But if Big Rig CEO put a video out and he said, look, list whatever. Now, whether you do or is insignificant. But what is smart is look at when you're booking a load, and I ran the numbers on this. So I watched his video, and I ran the numbers. Let's say you want $1,600 for whatever load. You just say, "Oh, I want $1,600." Broker gives you $1,600. But what if you add 51 cents? And I like odd numbers, right? So what if you had 51 cents to that? Now I ran the numbers at 150 loads. I can't remember what is it. What would that be, Joe? 51 cents. Is that 1,500? Let me see. Let me do that.
Give me the numbers.
No, it's 150 times 51 cents. $76. I think I added $5 or something. But anyway,
right.
But whatever it is, if it's 1605 or 1653, it doesn't matter. But he is right. So Big Rig CEO is exactly right. Listen, if you do something like that, it's pretty hard because if you and I were role playing here and you said, "Robert, I'll go for 1675." I'm just going to say, you know what? We'll just do it for 1,700, right?
Right.
So now I may give you another $100 or $30 or whatever the case is, right? Or another $1, let's say. In this case, because we're just talking small. But if you look at that, just that little small gain at the end of the year, that could be real dollars, right?
Right.
76 cents is not a lot of money. But when you run 150 loads a month or a year, just at 50-something cents, that's $76, right? That you wouldn't have had otherwise. And it does make you look like you ran the numbers. And how can they argue that? Right? How can they argue that? Because you look like, you're a professional and you did your work and you want this load and we'll give it to you, right? So pretty hard, in my opinion, for the broker to have any objections with that. And a lot of people that have heard me on your channel before know I'm a sales guy. Listen, the best thing to do is get whatever you think the broker's objection is going to be, or the person that you're trying to entice to buy, because people like to buy, they never like to be sold. But get the objections out on the table. So if you think the broker's going to object to something, just throw it out there, and now he can't use it. He or she can't use it, right?
Right.
So, and again, let's say you want 1,600. Why not say I want 1,605? Think about it. If you got $5 more just by instead of 1,600, I want 1,605. Now take that times 150 loads, extra $5, and see what that'll give you per year, right?
Right.
So, you could run all kinds of different scenarios, but just that alone, that $5 is $750 a year on 150 loads. Now that's real dollars for a lot of folks, for everybody. That's $750.
Well, and you could go even further, right? In times if people want to save money, right? And let's say you have a driver that goes in to the truck stops and eats inside the truck stop twice a day.
Right.
Right? And he orders an iced tea twice a day. And it's $3 a glass.
Right.
That's $6 a day. He was out there, 250 days. That's $1,500.
Right.
Right? To where, if he took his own tea or whatever, or just, drank water, went out and had his own tea in the truck and made it himself, he would save, $1,400 and some odd dollars just off that one item.
Right.
People say, well, I'll try to, do this. If fuel's a good cost, right? Yeah, you can slow down and things like that, but come on. The truck's, 55 miles an hour, let's get real. The time is money. So if you run around the country at 55 miles an hour and run all the way up to 70 hours on your clock, well, if you did it at 65, the speed limit everywhere you went, you'd have a lot of time to do 3 or 4 more loads, which would way more profit than the fuel savings.
Right.
And we can even put the numbers on the board. That's for another demonstration. But you would make a whole lot more money. Right?
Or you'd save some money if you didn't want to run the load what you'd say. Or you could just, hey, look, you know, you want that, you want to get a T, you know, 1605. I want to look for 1605. Just pay for your T, right?
Right. Well, you know, and another profit strategy is this. Hey, if you're going to the East Coast and you know there's tolls, add those into the rate. Add them into your rate. And if the broker says, you know, let's say you're at $3,000 for a load and you want $3,050. And you just tell the broker, hey, I need $3,050. Well, I only got $3,000. Well, I need $3,050. Why do you need $3,050? Well, because if I'm going across the PA Turnpike, blah, blah, it's this much money and, you know, it's expensive, you know, plus the fuel. And more than likely, you know, they'll jump up to $50. And if they want to ruin a sale over $50, then call another broker that'll give you the extra money to run the toll.
That's right.
It's the same thing with the funding, right? If you factor, same thing with the factoring fee. If it's a $2,000 load and let's say you pay 2.5%, it's $50. Ask for $2,050. That way your factoring doesn't cost you nothing. You know, then you're gonna get the smart guy say, well, you know, it does cost you something because of taxes. No, they'll equal out, right? Because you'll get charged $50 from the funding company. You made that $50. It comes back down to your original $2,000. Fistful of dollars says facts. That's why I bring my own pot and coffee. Well, see, fistful of dollars. Dean would have a fistful of dollars if he followed your rule and made his own coffee, because his green tea, frappuccino, latte, hutte, all those other teas at Starbucks cost, you know, $7-8 a cup. I don't know, what is it, Dean? Is it $6.75? What is it? What do you get it with?
Hey, listen, I've been going to Dunkin' Donuts lately because.
Oh, he's downsizing the Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, we had to. Well, what it is that the Starbucks was starting to make me sick, you know, and so I had to stop, and then I tried Dunkin' Donuts, and it's, I don't know, the texture is different or whatnot, but even that, yeah, you know, on the head, $6.75, but that's still expensive. I had to cut back, you know.
Well, Fistful of Dollars says Dean is a Starbucks queen. Lots of laughs.
Oh man, that's all right.
He says you drink the lady drinks. The green tea frappuccino with extra whippy.
Oh man, that's fun. It's all right. Well, you know, we all got our thing, right?
Do you get a sissy stick with it?
You know, I'll never forget when I asked that lady for, can I get a sissy stick with that? She just looked at me. I'll never forget that. Oh my God.
I should have been on the phone with you and I told you to say that.
Oh my God. It was, Sandman was on the phone
right.
with me, and he about had a heart attack, and the lady didn't think it was too funny, but we sure did. We were dying, but yeah.
But you know, there's a lot of different strategies to run these businesses, right? Trucking business. So we'll go over more every week, right? So I want to get, this is a main one. This is an important one about your running area, because if fuel prices are going real high, especially if you're in a high fuel price area, think about it. So if you're over in, let's say Pennsylvania, Carlisle, and you're running that area, and it's costing you, let's say $7 a gallon, but you could just go a few hundred miles over to Columbus area and make the same money, but the fuel is $1 cheaper, let's say, per gallon. Well, you run over there. You can save money, still make good money, you know, make your money, and then go back home. So there's all kinds of ways to run the business to save money when things are getting tight. You know, fuel costs go up. If rates are going down, just because they say the national rate's going down, because, you know, you got to remember who's doing those rates. Who owns these companies that are posting those rates? That's like if you get all your news from certain companies out there. Who owns those companies? Do your research, because it could be fake news or manipulated numbers, manipulated news. You gotta know who owns them.
so
Because I'm not going to tell you what companies out there, right? We're not going to talk about companies, but everybody knows the companies in trucking that give out reports and everything. Look and see who actually owns those companies and see who their families are.
right.
And connect the dots, people. Connect the dots.
Look, there's always
You're being manipulated.
Well, exactly. Someone's always going to look. There's always a seller and there's always a buyer, right?
Right.
You just don't want to get sold a bill of goods.
Where is Sandman, says Cool Trucking?
No clue.
He's got his head in the sand, maybe? I don't know.
I don't know where he's at.
I think was he home?
No, I think he went out to the Northwest, I think, but
He's probably up you know where he's at? He's up in Washington, because, that's where he used to live, right? He's up in Washington. He's at Starbucks headquarters.
He is.
And he's getting the dean a titanium card.
Oh, damn.
Starbucks titanium card.
I get one a day for free?
Yes. Yeah, something like that.
Wow. I'm all over that.
Actually, it's probably, it'd probably be like you get, one extra squirt of the stuff in your... one extra scoop of the whipped topping.
Oh, man. Yeah, exactly. Something that's like a nickel, right? They're charging us probably $2 for it.
Right. But, I think this is one of the biggest hang-ups that a lot of owner-operators have, is they want to stay in their running area because they get complacent. And they just keep, they get repetition, right?
Yeah, I agree with that. And, getting comfortable being uncomfortable is definitely, hey, look, so all three of us talk quite a bit. And I'm not sure what people think that are watching your show, but, so I mean, who knows? I'll just throw it out there. But I guess what I'm asking is, would everybody believe that you can't have business without a sale? And somebody's making a sale. So
right.
if we look at a flow chart or how it works, because I think this kind of goes hand in hand with the running lane, right? But the receiver places the order with the shipper, and then the shipper gives it to the broker, and the broker down the line. But before the carrier or the driver sees the load, somebody made a sale.
Right.
And whether or not you think you're in sales or not, look, I know some guys probably don't like me talking about sales like I do. I understand that because this is trucking, but it's still business. And people can say what they want. Look at Donald Trump. Yeah, he's a corporate guy, but where did he make all his money? He's a sales guy, right? I mean, even if you could be in the computer business or in the space business, but you have to sell somebody something before your company even makes a penny. So to understand business or trucking or anything, most guys will say they're good at sales, read some sales books, this and that. But I think we look at the load board as a Bible, whatever load board you're looking at. But I think once you sift through the drama, I think it'll open your eyes and you'll look at things differently, right? And the other misnomer is the people that we're talking to, they're trained salespeople.
Okay.
That is so not true.
Let me ask you a question, Dean. So if you have a shipper, they're at the top of the food chain, right?
So I think it would start with the receiver would be first, right? Because he's ordering it. Because the shipper.
Yeah, but let's start with the shipper.
Okay.
Okay, who's the shipper's customer?
The shipper's customer is the broker.
That's right.
Well, it's the receiver, right? And then it would be the broker, right? So we all, the carrier, the shipper, and the broker, all three of us share the same customer.
Right.
The customer that matters, right, to everybody is the receiver who we're delivering to. That's ultimately who we all agree at some point.
Because if a receiver doesn't order the goods, Nothing happens. No one makes money.
Nothing moves.
Nothing moves, right? To get the wheel moving, the receiver must order product.
Correct.
Right?
Right.
And then the broker, the carriers are his customers.
Correct. The brokers, right. The brokers arrange. Now, see, okay, here's the thing, right? We're going to open a can of worms here, and that's okay. But look it. The broker is not your customer as the carrier.
No.
I don't care what anybody says.
No, the broker is not my customer at all. He's not my customer.
It's the shipper's customer. Right? The broker is the customer of the shipper, and we are a customer of the broker. But the broker is not my customer.
Right.
But we all share the same customer, and that's the receiver.
That's right.
Once the driver signs the BOL, then he or she's taking some responsibility to get that load to the receiver.
And that receiver is our ultimate customer as the carrier.
Right. Absolutely. And think about it. So
because we're servicing them, right? We're servicing the shipper and the receiver. Because we're picking up the load from the shipper and we're delivering it to the receiver. Right? We're the broker's customer. Because we're getting the load from him and we're negotiating a rate.
Right. Now some people will say, and I'm not saying this is not a valid argument, but here's my issue. So if we say the broker is our customer, number one, the broker is not calling the carrier like we, carriers, single truck operators are dialing for dollars, or dispatch services calling the brokers. It's not the other way around, right? The brokers they send sales teams out to get the business from the shippers, but not the carriers, right? Not on the spot market. I mean, contract rate's totally different, right? But I guess I would ask somebody this: if you think that if you view the broker as your customer, and let's say you show up and you go to deliver the load, and they say, well, the appointment's not today, it's tomorrow, or it's in 2 days, 3 days, a week, or 10 hours. If you owned a restaurant, would you allow your customer to come in and eat for free every single week? Of course you would. So if the brokers are our customers, then why are we allowing them to pull these shenanigans? Well, it's because they're not our customer. We are the broker's customer.
That's right.
We have to adhere to their rules. They're not adhering to our rules, right? So I don't think that. I mean, to me, that's how I view it. Some people say, "But Robert, the broker is the one that's paying us." But no. You got to back that whole scenario up again and start with the receiver, because the receiver is ultimately paying the bill in most cases, right?
See, if you haven't been in sales, a lot of guys have a hard thing to follow, right?
What do you mean?
Well, because some people say, we're their customer and this and that, but they don't. If you follow the sales channel, right? That'd be like me going into the restaurant and acting like, I'm not their customer, right? So if I go in there as a customer and I say, well, no, I'm not paying $8 for that hamburger. I'm only paying $5 for that hamburger. They're not going to let you do that.
No.
Right?
Right. No. I mean, so
it's the same thing with the broker. You go there and say, I want $500 layover now, not $250. Well, no, this is the price. It's on the board.
Right. So think about it. They got these laws that are going to Congress and everybody, broker transparency, this and that. I can't tell you on what side of the coin I'm on with that. But again, here's the question I would ask: to understand what the load is paying after I run the load doesn't do me any good. Again, if you go to if you come to my restaurant to eat, but I don't have any prices, and I say, well, order what you want, I'll let you know what the when you're done eating. I'm probably never going to have any customers. It doesn't work that way.
Right, but
I
see,
need to know what I'm getting ahead of time.
okay, now CDN, right? You say, but often brokers pay extra charges to carriers that customers have declined to pay. The broker pays the carrier to maintain the carrier relationship. He's paying extra to his customer, to the relationship, just like a restaurant. If I go to a restaurant and they send me some food with a hair on it and whatever, and you say something, they see it, they say that's gross, they give you another plate of food, they give you a 50% discount to keep you good relations, so you'll come back. Or they might say, well, that's on us.
Right.
To keep you coming back as a customer.
Right.
It's the same concept.
But
Different business model.
It's not done though. Because how many times do we show up as a carrier? Now, I mean, each of us individually, hopefully not a lot, but it does happen. And then the carrier, i.e. the driver, is the one holding the bag of nothing.
Right.
Because the broker doesn't do anything. Well, we screwed up. We'll pay you $150. Okay, but $150 when a carrier, i.e. a driver, has $250,000 worth of equipment, let's say, $150, that's not even a drop in the bucket. That's an insult.
Right. In CDN, he says from a legal standpoint, the carrier delivers a load, brokers shut their doors, and load goes to court. Judge will either have the shipper assignee has to pay the driver who delivered it, even if the load was already paid. Right? So if the load was paid to the broker shuts his doors and goes under. If you have a factoring company, in that case, you wouldn't have to pay it back as long as it's non-recourse because they shut their doors. But two, if you didn't, then yes, you could go to court because ultimately the shipper assignee, how they have it arranged, would have to pay you because you have the bill of lading, which is a contract. You didn't get no money. Then it's up to the shipper or receiver, whoever they are the ones paying, will have to go back and sue the broker, who is probably out of business, but, get any of their assets that are sold off or left, right? They'd be put in line. Just like when a big brokerage went out of business last year, and I got in the mail for like almost a year straight. If you've done business with this broker between this time and this time, this is a class action lawsuit. Send us all your freight bills. And that was all part of the suit. And they said, you'd get back X amount of dollars, right? That went on for a long time. But I hauled loads for them, and that's why they sent me the judgment, right? They sent that to me, what's going on. But our loads we hauled were way before they stopped paying people. Right? So I didn't have to respond to it because I had nothing there to collect. But the people that were in that window of those 6 or 7 months that they didn't pay nobody, those are the ones that, send us your stuff and everything. That'd be going in there, and when they sell all their assets, they divvy out the money accordingly and hope you get it all,
Yeah, hope.
The positive.
With the slim margins that we have now, and people are like, well, the bottom's, the world's ending. But think about it. So if you don't factor right now, let's just play devil's advocate.
Okay.
Let's say you don't factor. You run a load because look, I personally believe, and this is just my opinion, but I personally believe if you look at the amount of carriers that have gone out of business and that may go out of business, I don't believe that the brokers are immune from that either. I think there's going to be a lot of brokerages that just disappear. And so if you don't factor and you don't run the credit, well, that's worse than going to Vegas, right? So
right.
You could haul a bunch of loads and then be holding a bag of nothing. That to me is just kind of scary. Because
let me ask you a question. You're talking about factoring, right?
Yeah.
And I know you use Thunder Funding.
I do.
And everybody says, oh, you're advertising Thunder Funding again, right? Well, they're the best factoring company out there. in my opinion. Because what happens, Dean, if you send in your invoice and all your bills and everything, and it's missing a consignee signature on the one you sent? What do you get? What happens?
Well, I haven't had that, thank God. But I've
Or if something's blurry, or you're missing pages of the bill.
Yeah, so right, I mean immediately, within 15 minutes, I get a second email, and it says, we have questions to this, and that, and then you got to fix it or call them, and then they let you know. And
right.
They can fix it on their end, like if it's just something like blurry and they know you're driving or something like that, they'll help you out. Or worst case scenario, they'll have to redo the invoice, right? But all you gotta do
is reply to the email with a clearer picture of the BOL. Right.
I mean,
or if you got 5 pages of BOL and you missed page 4, you forgot to scan it into them. They'll say you're missing page 4.
Right, and I've had that happen because
right.
The TMS we use will put page numbers. That's not page numbers of the BOL. That's page numbers how the software.
Right, but I'm just saying if the BOL says page 1 of 5, 2 of 5, and you miss one, they catch it right away, and then they send you an email right away saying, hey, we need this page. It could affect your funding, your time frame. See, now if you didn't use a factory company and you sent an invoice in and you sent that to the broker, because a lot of brokers won't pay if there's pages missing. Even if you don't get them back from the receiver, that's why I tell everybody, you must take pictures of every single page of that bill they give you at the shipper. Because a lot of times you get the receiver, they'll stamp the top copy, give it to you, and you're missing the other 5 pages.
That's right.
And if the broker gets that and it says page 1 of 6, and that's all he's got and it's stamped, he can say, well, I need the other 5 pages.
Right, and there's some rate cons that will say,
right,
driver must submit all pages.
All pages of the BOL. So, to protect yourself, get Tiny Scanner. It's a one-time fee, or get Cam Scanner. It's a monthly fee. It has some more features. You can do it monthly fee. Get one of those scanning apps or some type of scanning app that turns into PDF. And as soon as you get your bills from the shipper, and the thing about the shipper is if it says page 1 of 4 and they only give you page 1, no, you better get the rest of the pages. Or say, hey, can I see all of them so I can take a picture of them? That way you have a picture of them. Right? So then when you get to the receiver, if they only give you back 1 and you don't want to be in a huge argument because some will argue and say that's all you got because they're sitting behind that bulletproof glass stuff or whatever, because obviously there's a reason for it, right, Dean? Reason for it. So they give you back 1 page, you don't argue with them, you just say, okay, thank you, because if you have them all scanned in, guess what? You scan in that one and delete the one that's not signed, page 1, put new page 1 in there and send it off to the, to your customer for billing, or send it to your funding company. And you won't have a problem. But if you're not factoring, here's what happens. 30 days go by, you don't get your check. 35 days go by, you don't get a check. So you start making phone calls. They say, oh, well, we can't do nothing with it because, you're missing 3 pages. They're not going to call you and tell you. They probably already got their money, but they're holding it just because.
Right, and I mean, when times are bad, look, in times like this, everybody wants to hold on to their money, and I would say the brokers are going to do the same thing. They want to hold on to their money as long as possible. Maybe their customers are slow pay also, who knows? But if you factor, you don't have to worry about it.
Think about this. There's a reason why Landstar, Schneider, all these huge companies hold your money for a week or even longer, right? Oh, you didn't get it in time, so now it's 11 more days before you get that one. Is because they're investing that money and they're making a lot of money on that money. They just don't have an account sitting there doing nothing. They're making money on the money. Think how many millions of dollars that is. They're making money on that money.
Yep, there's no urgency. That's the thing.
Right.
The only urgency urgency that exists is with the driver carrier. That's it.
That's it.
Everybody else, it's going to be a turtle, right? It's a turtle race. But the driver has to have that drives me nuts, right? So, and it really drives me nuts because there really is, and this is another reason I don't think that in my opinion, I don't view the brokers as my customer, because honestly, they don't have any skin in the game. They're not getting to know me. They're not doing anything. I'm not offering them anything that someone else doesn't have, right? All of us are calling the same broker a lot of times for the same load. What am I going to give you that's different? I can tell you I'll be a better service. I'll do this. Listen, when you call a broker, it is a transactional deal.
Right.
Right.
That's all it is.
That's all it is. It's a transaction. It's no different than going to the gas station and pump gas and hand the cash switch. I mean, that's it, right? I just look you. And I've said it before. You may be able to build a little bit of rapport with the brokers, and sure, look, I get called from the big brokerages just like anybody else. Did I do anything special? I don't think so. I pick up on time. I deliver on time. That's how you're going to get the calls. I don't believe it's because we talked. Half the time when you call, they just want to know, hey, drive this rate, this commodity, take it or leave it type of thing, right? They're trying to get you off the phone if you don't book the load because they want to take the next call.
Right.
It's a transaction. This is not a relationship selling deal here. And I believe in relationship selling, but this is not the platform, in my opinion. This isn't it. This is not about relationship selling. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you can make relationships, right? You can make relationships with some brokers. And, we do have some where they call it, our guys all the time. And, they book the loads and everything because we have a good rapport with them. But, just like anything else, they might have a good rapport with somebody else.
Yeah, I just don't think there's enough dialogue that happens. And so when you have a 15, 20 truck carrier, 25 truck carrier, you're in a totally different deal. If you're getting contract freight, totally different deal. Right now it's about relationships and this and that. But as far as the average load on the spot market for most carriers, a guy like myself, I just don't believe it's about relationships.
You wouldn't believe, Dean, how many times a day I get a call from a big broker asking me if I have any flatbeds sitting here. I get calls every single day. I said, nope, don't have a flatbed available. Well, thank you.
You're going to have to start buying some.
And why are they calling? Because, they all have, the FMCSA and all that. They all have it up there. They know how many trucks you got.
Right.
Or supposedly have, right? Because it's just the MCS 150 and you can change it at any given time. Right?
Or, if you rent a lot of loads with a van
right.
or a reefer and you get good, they'll say, hey, you never know, let's call him. Let's see if he does. Maybe he does, right? If you did good with the other platforms, let's try it. You never know.
Right. Exactly, CD. And it depends on the broker to customer relationship. Is that broker exclusive to that customer, or are they just one of the 20 brokers in an email, for a list of bids on loads and then reselling the load? Right. If they're just reselling the load, they're not going to care what carrier wherever takes it, because 9 times out of 10 they're not getting that load anyway because it's a bidding frenzy.
Exactly.
If you have a good list of brokers, you don't need to even use load boards and fight over every penny. That's true, Snorlord. That is absolutely true. We got guys that they don't really even use a load board. I see them, they haul for 2 brokers. And some of them haul just for 1. Because the guy calls every single day. And the lady calls every single day. And I say, well, we're owner-operators here, and we pick our own freight. So here's the whole list of contractors' phone numbers. Call and introduce yourself. And that's what they did. And they picked up X amount of the contractors, and they call them every day. And I see those same rate counts coming over and over and over again. I need to learn how to use Parade. Yeah, I got that stuff. I'm hooked into that. But and there are some digital sites you don't want to belong to. because they're scams. Because they have a bunch of brokers in there that double broker. You'll find that out if you have a factoring company. You'll find it out because they'll say they're hooked up with you because you're hooked up with this digital platform, and you never signed nothing with them, but you did on the platform, right? It's kind of like RMIS where they just do all the paperwork. So this broker calls, and then I go to Thunder Funding, and they're in red, and look at it, and they send a letter saying, and I have the letter. They sent the letter and email saying, you can haul for these people, but we're not going to fund that load because they're double brokering. So I wouldn't want to haul it anyway, because who's the real broker? Right? Where's the money trail? So that means the load's been cut who knows how many times. So why even deal with it? Parade any good cause, my 4 brokers are on it. Well, yeah, they push that, right? So what happens is these platforms will say, hey, we can link you up, and then they get brokers to go on there and join the platform. And then those brokers will say, hey, they'll send you emails, hey, you can get some good money if you join Parade, or if you join, I forget the other names of them, Rigs, and what's the other one? I don't know. There's a couple more. So that's the new digital future, right? They're trying to do that. But the problem is they got to learn how to vet those brokers a lot better, because you could get burnt.
You can't be too careful. I mean, I'm skeptical of a lot of things out there. I'm careful. I try to haul for, the same 5 or 6, and I'll bounce around and just to keep them. Look, and they don't know what I'm doing, but I won't haul. I'm not hauling for the same guy every day,
Right.
But, just to keep them honest, I guess. But look, how am I keeping them honest? They don't even know what else I'm doing. So.
And CDN, you're right. A broker that is exclusive does have skin in the game, because they worked hard to earn that customer, and they don't want to lose them. That is correct. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Right? Armando says this.
But that's true. But I would say this real quick to TDN's point. But that is my point. That's what I'm saying. The broker doesn't really. I mean, honestly, does he care about the carrier? 90% of the time, I'm going to say no, because his allegiance is to his customer.
Right, his allegiance is to, let's say he's with P&G, right? He lands P&G. Right? There's only one P&G, right? There's only one. But there's millions of carriers.
Yeah.
Right? There's over 1 million carriers. So is he going to care about that one carrier? Probably not, because he knows there's, 999, however many ones are out there are right behind that one, right?
That's right. Right. You're just another vendor. You're just on the vendor
You're a
list.
vendor list. You're the vendor list. That's right. The broker goes out and he seeks a vendor to haul that can help him with his customer. So he seeks.
And look at this. Well, technology has probably helped these guys.
Right.
Because look, the more, if you pick up, deliver on time, and do your check calls and use the apps and all that stuff, I'm sure within their own internal systems, you're going to move up the food chain. But we're not privy to that, so we don't know where we stand.
But
I'm not saying that doesn't exist, but by and large, I would say, as a rule of thumb, these guys really don't care about it.
No, because here's the reason why they don't care. Here's the reason why they don't care, and you probably fell into this. Everybody that started a carrier, got their own authority, falls into this. And it's the biggest crock of you-know-what around. Let's say you're around for 2 years, right? You've been hauling for 2 years, great record. You call a broker you never hauled for, and they say, oh, I'm sorry, we can't let you haul our freight. Why not? You don't have an inspection.
Right.
Inspections, brokers, mean absolutely nothing. Because if you've never been on a roadside inspection. So you don't know what the difference of the inspections are. So you say, okay, you want an inspection? So the driver pulls up and the guy said, I'm doing a paper inspection, right? So you go up and get the level and he says, okay, well, you got your license, you got your medical card, you got your bill of lading, okay, you're good. And now he's got an inspection. What does that prove to you? It doesn't prove his equipment's safe for anything. But you don't know that. But yet they won't let you haul a load because, even though you've been out there 2 years, you don't have an inspection. Right? Have you been told that, Dean?
I was in the beginning, and then I had from this past September, just 2 months ago, or from last September until 2 months ago, September, I had 5 inspections. I got 5 inspections in 1 year.
Right, but I'm saying that if you never run across it, and because I just had one of the guys call me up. So what do I do in this case? He said, I drove right into the scale house and went in there and said, hey, can you inspect me? Because I got brokers that won't load me because I don't have an inspection. And he said his authority for a couple of years. And the DOT officer says, absolutely not. You got to be picked randomly.
Well, you and I talked about this, and I
He
wonder,
would do
so
it.
think about it. Is that a way to curtail capacity? Because at some point, that carrier can only not haul for all the brokers for so long.
Right.
So if you don't get that inspection, is that how they're going to work attrition now? That's what, Look, and when guys do care, and here's the thing, number one, I think we got a lot of smart people out here behind the wheel. I truly do. And I think we have a lot of guys that care. But where I don't think that it's reciprocated is on the broker side. Because most guys, I believe, genuinely care, want to take care of the broker, no matter how you view it. We want to do a good job, right? Because it's our name on the line, however you think. But do the brokers ever, hey, I appreciate it, you did this, you did, they don't care. You delivered a load, they don't remember who the heck you are, right? So where's the incentive for the carrier to really go above and beyond, go the extra mile? Because in their eyes, the brokers don't care. I look at it like this. I show up to a shipper receiver. I know how much they respect me when they want me to go use the portage on when it's minus 20 degrees. You have zero respect for them. None.
Well, to me, if the broker does the stuff right, treats you good, does it right, has the right pickup numbers, you don't have to call and ask for them. You can get a hold of them. If you need let's say you need a comp check for a lumper and it's 2 a.m. and they actually answer their phone, then you write that down as a good broker and you continue doing business. But if you get one that you show up and they gave you an appointment for 9 a.m., the place isn't even open at 9 a.m. They only unload from 7 p.m. to 3 a.m. And then you got to sit there all day, and then they're balking about not wanting to pay you any money. Then those are the ones you cross off your list. Because obviously they didn't know their customer. Right? They didn't know their own customer because if they knew, they would know, hey, you can't give me a 9 a.m. appointment. You're not even open.
But it's probably not even their customer. They probably bought the load from somewhere else.
Right. So on that case, that load has probably been brokered who knows how many times, right? And then the times got changed somewhere in the mix. But who pays for that? The carrier, right? The carrier. Because it's always, there ain't nothing we can do about it. You just got to sit there. When they should sit back in their seat and go, man, would I like to sit here all day and not get paid?
Then they talk about
Absolutely
they talk
not.
they talk about attrition, and if you're a company guy, how many times can a company guy go through that before he's sitting there in a situation like that? Says, you know what, this just isn't worth it, right?
Right. And so
you can only go through so many times, and then it's just, in my opinion, the shippers should reimburse these, they should reimburse the mega carriers. And the reason I say that is, most of the time, guys that quit are just tired of taking, right? They just, you take it, You can't leave. You can't leave the premises to use the bathroom. You can't go get something to eat. But when you're somewhere for 18 hours and they don't even provide basic facilities, a restroom, some food, like that's preposterous, right? I mean that's insane. And if you do that time and time again, if you're a company guy, and I've been there, I'm only going to tolerate their crap for so long, and I'm gone. And I'm going to think the grass is greener somewhere else. But
Right.
If the carriers held these shippers and their customers accountable and said, look, we're going through drivers like water, and it's 90% of the problem is you. We've done everything we can do as a carrier. Pay them more money, give them new trucks, all these things. At some point, we have to look at what the real problem is. And I would say this, most of these companies out here do a pretty good job of taking care of the driver, but it's not the carriers, it's the customers.
Right. It's the shippers and receivers are a big problem, right? Just like stores says, there's good carriers and bad carriers, just like there's good brokers and bad brokers, right? There's good and bad in every facet of this industry, right? Just like shippers and receivers, good ones and there's bad ones. For example, if you roll up into a Walmart for an 8 a.m. appointment and you don't have that 8 number, they turn you around. Then it takes you a day or 2 or 3 or 4 to get it back in there. When all they got to do is look at the paperwork and look at the PO number and look it up. But they don't want to look it up. They want that number. Right? They want that number. Same thing if you go to, one of these water companies and you don't have the exact pickup number, but you got the PO number. They're too lazy to cross-reference it. It's there. It's in their system. They're looking right at it. They know exactly what load you're picking up. They say, oh, no, can't pick up unless we have that exact number. Well, and then you get the bill lating. Let's say you sit around for 2 hours getting a hold of the broker, and finally 2 or 3 hours later, they give you that number, right? They finally get the number. They give you the number. You go in there, and when you get your bills, guess what's on the bill? That PO number you gave them. Sitting right there, black and white. That's a bad shipper. That's a bad receiver. All this stuff could be handled because the problem is you got humans working there, right? And if they have attitudes, the place has attitudes.
And again, I think, look at these places that get mad at the drivers when the driver shows up, that's on the receiver.
CDN. Let me ask this question, Dean, because this hits a point. He said the FMCSA should mandate that the facility who hires the outside carrier and detains them for more than 2 hours are required a driver lounge with washrooms, sitting area, and access to buy food.
Wow. Yeah, I would say that's maybe 20% of the time.
Right, but here's what they should be required to do. And then this would fix a lot of the industry. They should be required, when you show up, after 2 hours, if it takes them 8 hours to load you, when you get your bills, they should hand that driver cash money for the time he was sitting there. And I guarantee you, they wouldn't be sitting there. Right? If they had to hand out cash money out of the rainy day fund to every driver that, started detention hours and hand in the money, then that wouldn't happen. You wouldn't be sitting out there.
A lot of these places anymore don't even have a restroom.
Well, and they need to do away with lumpers, right? They need to do away with the lumper charge. There's no reason why the drivers have to pay the lumper. If it's a shipper product, the shipper it all should be prepaid. There should be no lumpers anymore. No lumper checks going out. No call your broker for a lumper or whatever. It should all be prepaid in the rate from the shipper, right? That should all be prepaid. We had one of our drivers did a $450 load and the lumper charge was $1,200. Come on, let's get real. $1,200, unload a truck. And the load was $450. Isn't that stupid?
You're in the wrong business.
Isn't that stupid?
That is. That's asinine. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fair. That is. Yeah.
Right, because it's not our responsibility. Right, that's why everything put on the driver. It is not the carrier's responsibility. When you get to that dock, and it's even in the regs, you get to that dock, that's the receiver's freight. They're supposed to unload it and not charge a dime.
Right. Well, it's like they say, you and I've heard this since the 90s. Driver shortage, driver shortage. That's a recruiting gimmick. But think about it. If they want to fix it, it's real easy. You just pay the guys, so they're not sitting there for free for umpteen hours. I mean, this is nothing new. It's been going on for a long time, right?
Right.
I just don't understand. And here's the thing, though. They'll let the drivers sit out there. You can't leave, can't go get food, no restrooms. But if they did that to their employees, that son of a gun be down at HR raising hell. I don't understand it. Why does the driver? I mean, we got people. I won't. You already know.
Right.
We have people that get better treatment than that.
Look,
right? I mean,
look. CDN's right. He if he knows that he has a customer or job site where long load time, so the driver makes sure you have food and water, et cetera, right? And in the wait times on there. But let's look at the van world. There's no reason why that trailer can't be loaded or unloaded within a 1 hour time limit. None. Zero. If Costco can do it 99.9% of the time, everybody can do it.
That's right.
Right?
And then, you know what? Way to
Everybody.
Open pick, open drops. No reason we got to have. Everybody's there anyway.
Right, but here's the thing. It's okay if you have appointments, but if a truck shows up an hour late, you don't send them and make them an appointment. You unload the truck because he had an appointment time, and they unloaded somebody else early then, right? Because they're going to put somebody in that door.
So they got a slot open.
So when that door comes open, they were going to put him in. You tell them, hey, sit over there, because your door was the door over there. When that door gets unloaded, you just go in there and then fit him right in the line.
Well, here's the other thing. This whole rescheduling fee. So
right.
If it's really about safety, why are we going to force a guy to drive through, grandma's house and through hell just to honor your appointment time? And then if they don't make it because they didn't, they wanted to live another day, you're going to charge a $250 reschedule fee.
Right. That's a crock of you-know-what, too.
I mean, that is insanity.
Yeah, that's insanity.
You're just gouging.
Right, it's nickel and diamond, right? It's nickel and diamond and taken out of the pocket of the only individuals that actually have skin in the game, and a lot of it, right? And have all of the responsibility. All the responsibility is on that guy that's behind the wheel. Anything happens that load, anything that happens on the highway, it's always the driver that pays the price. Always the carrier that pays the price. So they should make the most money in the equation. But do they? That's for another day. But do they?
That's the problem. They see, and I get it. Do we want other people involved in our stuff? No. See, that's why but I always go back to that restaurant analogy. You're not going to buy something unless you know the price on the thing. And if there's nothing to hide, what's the problem?
Right.
I don't understand. I just don't understand. And to get it afterwards, to me, doesn't do any good because, the freight market's no different than the stock market. It changes by the minute, by the day. Just because I got it for this rate today doesn't mean it'll be that way next week. And like I said, I don't know what's bad on it because, look, you pick a side and you're a villain either way. And honestly, I don't even know if they were forced to show it. Are they even going to give us accurate stuff anyway? I doubt it. I mean, anybody can doctor anything up.
Snorler's going to start lumper service. He'll gladly empty a trailer for $1,000.
Hell yeah.
Nevada says that's why I don't want my truck for small dollar amount loads. A lot of things can go wrong at these loads, and less shippers, receivers, the better. I like it. If I run short, which that's what that's my forte. I like running short loads. As long as it's my daily rate that I need, it doesn't matter if it takes all day. I made my rate. Because personally, I'd rather sit at the dock if the shipper instead of the dock of the receiver and make, that daily rate, then drive 9-10 hours for the same money and put all that wear and tear on my equipment. Because I have less maintenance to worry about. And I'll have a better net. I don't know. Many facilities were built with loading docks but didn't get a big enough yard for drivers to get in and out of. You got that right.
Yeah. But they're a lot better than they were 25 years ago. There's no doubt about it. They're a lot, most of the places now are pretty good.
Right. He says on the flip side of this conversation, a shipper could be live on YouTube sharing horror stories of drivers being rude, smelly, dirty, late, horrible equipment issues on both ends. Right. There's a lot of cleanup to do on all aspects of this industry.
Right.
Drivers, equipment, carriers, brokers, shippers, receivers. Everywhere you look, there could be improvement, right?
Well, there could, Jeff, but here's the thing, too. So this just chased my butt. They say they want professional drivers, but when they get them, they don't know how to treat them anyway.
Right.
And listen, these shippers and receivers, or even companies, right, say, well, you got to dress professional, blah, blah, blah. But do they hold anybody accountable? Well, how are they going to do that? The office, home office is in, $10 2 and the driver's in $10 3. How is that going to happen, right? But if the receivers, I guess, had the same standards that the carriers have, because once you let a guy go and don't enforce it, now you just lower the expectation for everybody, right? You let one person slide, now everybody slides. This is the way it works, right? So I don't know, and I do agree with that. And I think if guys want to get paid like a professional, then they should act like it. If you're going to look like, you need some help, then come on, you can't expect top dollar and look like a bag of rags.
Just trucking got slammed by Nightbot. I didn't know this Nightbot even got on here. They told me that, I was talking to some other guy, said, yeah, use Nightbot. Well, I installed it, couldn't get it to work, and now all of a sudden it's starting to work. I don't understand why it even works. I've done 100 and something videos, after I even messed around with that thing, and now it's coming on here being comical, right? It says, questionable judgment, stop spamming symbols, warning. That's what it did to SoCal the other night, and SoCal kept messing with it. He kept writing stuff in caps. And it was pissing Nightbot off. I wonder if I write something in caps if they'll yell at me. Here, I'll just do this. I'll just put something stupid up there. Let's see, will it yell at me? Okay, man, trucker shine all symbols. See if you can get the bot to come and say something. Maybe you got to have status to get the bot to say something to you. I don't know. Yeah, the bot went back to sleep. That's why I call him a Nightbot. Why don't carriers have shippers sign a liability form that the warehouse will take responsibility if they damage your trailer? That would create havoc. Well, that's another thing, right? So you go into a place, they damage your trailer, and they try to say they didn't do it. It's like, come on, you're not going to load my trailer with a big hole in the roof, so you had to have done it. Isn't that right, Dean? Right?
That's right.
Yeah. It didn't show up there.
Yeah, trucking is something else sometimes. You look at all the shenanigans that go on, and look, I agree with what that one guy said. Look, some guys I know get upset with that. But, again, and I'm always going to be on the driver's side. When you get, just ran over all the time, some guys just have enough, right? Look, is that the right way to handle it? Of course not. But do you blame the guy? I don't, You get tired of getting treated like crap every day. is the worst. I mean, those I mean, that's seriously. That's like, I mean, those people are the worst.
Yeah, seeing if I get. Let's see
people
what.
People reefer, they're better than me. That world, man, that's rough.
Stowart says, bottom line, trucking sucks. Let's all become lumpers. Start a lumper service.
Should.
Yep.
We should start lumper service. We just do it on. We'll do it on. Hey, have you seen that thing out there on YouTube? It's called One Wheel. It's one wheel. It's like a skateboard. Have you seen that?
No.
You gotta check it. Oh, you gotta check it out, man. I'm thinking of getting one, but I'm afraid. I'm not afraid I'm gonna break an arm or something.
Cool Truck says lumping sucks too.
Yeah, and you know what though? And we all know it's really not the lumpers though. It's the people that got to check it in that they just take forever. Count 10 pounds.
Well, you can say about every right. I mean, brokers can say brokering sucks, and shippers can say shipping sucks, and receivers can say receiving sucks because they don't want to do the drill. They want to deal with the public.
Right. Then we all just say let's just park. Let's just all go on vacation somewhere, and then the hell with it.
Dean says we just all get in our trucks. We drive up to Washington. We invade Starbucks and because Sandman's sitting there. We make them all buy us lattes.
That's right. The green tea frappuccino.
What time is it? Oh shoot, I'm getting off here, man. So I can actually go to bed at a decent time tonight instead of staying up until 12 or 1 or whatever doing videos.
It's late out there, huh? What time is it out there? 10:30?
10:30.
Oh, it's still.
Hold on, Dean. Don't hang up. Oops, owner-operator profit strategies every Tuesday at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. We'll do this. We'll do another strategy next week. And if anybody has any ideas of what strategies they would like to see or what they can do, I put the link up there. I pin it at the top where you can actually come in and participate. And we can talk about your strategy and go over it and all that kind of stuff to help other drivers out there that might not think the same way and make them think out of the box and they might learn something and it might help somebody. So we'll see y'all later. Great topic, knowledge shared. Thanks, CDN. Lumper strategy, says Caveman Trucker. All right. We will put Caveman Trucker in timeout. Yeah, let's put him in timeout. You want to go into timeout, Caveman Trucker? Should I put him in timeout?
No, didn't he have some good comments earlier?
Yeah, he had some good comments. We'll leave him alone. Yeah, we'll leave him alone. All right, we'll see everybody later. I might put a poll up or something for the whole week to see what kind of ideas or something. Or in the comments of this video, put down some strategies that you might want discussed, and we'll pick one.
Yeah, drop it like it's hot.
Yeah, drop it like it's hot. Exactly.
Drop it like it's hot. Come on, Jeff, let's hear it, man. Drop it like it's hot.
So Just Trucking was the only one that sparked the Nightbot out of his bed to come and say something. Unbelievable.
Because like you said, he's got status.
He's got status. So, if he throws up some more symbols or something, maybe that bot will come back out. Because I did all kinds of stuff. I got nothing.
Listen, it only goes to it just goes to the stars, man.
He says, easy now, Nightbot. It's my first date with you. Oh. All right, man. We'll see everybody. Thanks for watching.